Kia ora koutou, this is question 3e from the level 3 complex numbers paper this year, and it's a simultaneous equations question where we have to find u and v, and u and v are both complex numbers. So the reason I'm hesitating here is I'm not sure. I think this is the Eqns question, but it seems honestly a little bit too easy to be an Eqns question. So I can't see anything else in question 3 that I think is an Eqns question. So I guess that's just good news for you guys if you were doing this paper. So let's get into it. I'm going to do it two slightly different ways, but both of them use the year 11 simultaneous equations ideas of substitution and elimination. So let's have a wee look at what we've got when I can figure out how to move the page down. Okay, so we've got ui plus 2v is equal to 3 here, and we've got u plus 1 minus I times v is equal to 4. So the first way that I did this was with elimination, which we sometimes call matching up. And I'm looking at those two equations, and I can see, I'll just write them out to see if something strikes me when I'm doing that. What I'm trying to do is to match up coefficients. I'm going to label the equations 1 and 2, and I can see that if I times this one through by I, then I'll have a match up here on the ui. So that was what I did first. I went back again later and I did it with substitution. So I'm going to go through both of those methods here. I think probably most people watching this video will be people who are watching in 2026, who are just getting confident with complex numbers. This is a really good example of how far you can go with just a few little parts of the complex number topic. So let's times equation 2 through. So we'll have equation 1 just sits here like this, and here we're going to get ui plus 1 minus I times v is equal to 4i. So we'll call that equation 1 and equation 2 dash. I'm going to subtract the second from the first, and that's going to give me 2 minus I times 1 minus I v is equal to 3 minus 4i. Okay, so because ui take away ui is 0. Cleaning this up, what do we get? Well, we have 2 minus I plus I squared times v is equal to 3 minus 4i. I'm going really slowly with this because I don't want to muck up the coefficients. 2 minus 1 is 1, so I've got 1 minus I times v is equal to 3 minus 4i, giving me v is equal to 3 minus 4i over 1 minus I. I'm going to multiply by the conjugate over the conjugate and clean it up and get v. So in the denominator we have 1 plus 1, right, our usual conjugate multiplication pattern. And in the numerator we have 3 minus 4i plus 3i minus 4i squared. That gives me 7 minus I over 2. So v is equal to 7 over 2 minus a half I. Right, now we need to go back and get u. Let's see what we've got. Where's the best place that we can do that? What did I do here? I substituted it into this one. I could have done it into the one above, actually. I'm just looking whether it's much better. Oh, I'll just go with substituting it into equation 2 and see where we get. So equation 2 was u plus 1 minus I times v, which is this. It's easier to work with it in this form here. So it's times a half times 7 minus I is equal to 4. So very boring, actually. So we've got times 1 half times 7 minus 7i minus I plus I squared is equal to 4. So u plus a half of 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 minus 8i is 4. I think this video is probably going to have like the lowest ever watching numbers for 4 minutes in. 3, take away 4i is equal to 4. That gives me u is equal to 1 plus 4i. So we've got u and v. Right, let's just check that that works. I'm going to substitute that back into equation 1. You didn't need to do this. Always a good thing to do though. So we've got ui plus 2v has to equal 3. So u times I is I plus 4i squared plus 2 times a half of 7 minus I. That gives me I minus 4 plus 7 minus I, which gives me 3. So that's good. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. If you had a complete freak out and you, for some reason, couldn't do year 11 elimination, we could do this one using substitution, and that's what I'm going to do next. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to get us down to the point where we've got V. All right, so ui plus 2v is equal to 3. And in this equation, I can make u the subject pretty easily. So u is equal to 4 minus 1 minus I times v. I'm going to take this and I'm going to substitute it in here. So 4 minus 1 minus I times v plus 2v is equal to 3. Okay, 4. Oh, I've got an I somewhere here. Oh, I need to times it by I. Yep. Okay, that's better. So 4i minus I times 1 minus iv plus 2v is equal to 3. 4i plus 2 minus I plus I squared v is equal to 3. 4i plus, right, what have we got in here? 2 minus 1, 1 minus I, v is equal to 3. You can see that it's a little bit slower than doing it with elimination. That's possibly also because I have just like run out of coffee and I'm at school, not at home. So I've got not enough caffeine in me to go a bit faster. We get to here and then we're back to where we were the first way through, right? So we've got to here and here we are. We've matched up to there. I don't know, I prefer elimination usually with simultaneous equations. I know some of you probably still like substitution better, especially when you're in the stress of doing it in the exam. It's really important that you can do both at this level. Okay, I've got one more complex numbers question problem to do, and I will get onto that one later today. Then I'll start on the level 2 papers. Thanks for watching.